Matt Thorne, you cut him open and he bleeds Tech red and blue. The number 2 on the championship resources side brings a heavy amount of aura over the next 30 minutes in discussing how he maintains and strengthens relationships with Tech alumni and legends, all while pursuing the very best for the university that he loves. I'm the voice of the Bulldogs, Kyle Schasberger, and this is another edition of Tech Drive. Here with another Tech guy, and he's got the best hair in the business. He is the Associate AD for Championship Resources, reporting to Wally Crittenden. He's Matt Thorne. How much product do you put in that hair?
It's honestly not a lot,
Okay.
but it does need some.
Okay. You got the all-black look to you right now, which is like very stoic for you. It's kind of like Rick Pitino in some ways. Even with the slicked back hair, you got like a mafia-type ambiance to you.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
You got to treat it a certain way, but
Yeah. It'll be 2 years that you have been back, coming up this summer, working for the institution you graduated from, much like a lot of others here at this university, as I've learned. How much do you love this place?
man, you kind of get chills a little bit when you have the opportunity to come back and work for your alma mater, which it's very special, just because, you know, growing up, my dad went here, and then my aunt and uncle, and then I met my wife here. I started a career here, and there's so many good memories, and be able to come back and make an impact. It's been you kind of pinch yourself every day. Like, I'm an associate AD making an impact for student athletes at my alma mater. Like, it's people ask me all the time, like, where's next for you? Because I've been jumping around for the past 8 years, but I'm like, guys, this is it for me. Like, I want to stay here as long as they'll have me. But it's been really special, and it's crazy that it's been almost 2 years already.
Yeah, and we'll talk about some of your other stops briefly, but I want to pull on what you said about like how much it means to you, and the hair can stand up on your skin. Just thinking about it, I would think that is like an ultimate, notch in your belt in terms of your ability to do the job that you're being asked to do, knowing that you're an alum and you care so much about this place. Like, that just fuels the energy, the enthusiasm that I'm sure you operate with each and every day.
Yeah, it definitely packs an extra punch. When someone truly cares about a place, and it's not just, hey, this place is my next stop. They're the one paying my paycheck, and like, you can be as passionate as you want coming from the outside, but when it is your alma mater and you have so much history here, it's a lot easier for me than most. And that's not saying that others aren't as passionate about this place that have come through here and have are not Louisiana Tech grads and did so many great things here and went off, but it's just it's a lot easier for me, and I found it very um, rewarding to be able to do this every day.
For nearly 3 years before, you were at Louisville and then Lamar before that. How did those experiences help prepare you for a return to Tech for you and your family?
Yeah, the first stop, Lamar, I followed an administrator that was here. He was the AD. I followed him from Louisiana Tech to Lamar is how I got there. And you learn so much about the FCS level because you don't have a lot of funds and you don't have a lot at your fingertips. And then the opposite end of the spectrum in Louisville, like, I figured out how much money we were blowing and going and how much we were paying players and this and that. And I'm like, guys, this is a lot of money. And now back at a level like Louisiana Tech, it's kind of in the middle of both. But I'm able to pull some experiences from Lamar and then also from Louisville, from like this is high level, and we do a lot of stuff here better than Louisville, I think, because we have to be creative and we have to do things the right way, and we have to be very smart with all of our finances. Same thing with Lamar, but I think it's a good mixture between the two, and I'm glad that I was able to go out and get those experiences at different schools at different levels too. So now I've been at all three levels: FCS, Group of Five, and now in the Power Four. So I feel like it's a really good mix for me.
Yeah, that's fascinating. It makes all the sense in the world the way that you broke that down. Explain to the audience before we go any further what it is exactly that you are responsible for as the associate AD for Championship Resources, which is the fundraising arm of Tech Athletics?
Mhm. So Wally and I, one of our main jobs is fundraising. So our job every year is we get a fundraising goal, and we try to meet that every year through capital projects, through LTAC, through our AD discretionary, through our Champ Fund, and any projects that come up for coaches. Stuff comes up all the time that we are not necessarily planned for, but we are there to go and visit with donors and prospective donors on, hey, this is where our needs are, and this is where we need some help. And then on top of that, we're always trying to find new resources and trying to find new ways to create revenue. We oversee our suites, our DAC, premium areas at baseball, you name it. If it's revenue generating, then we're kind of over that. And then we work very closely with ticketing as well because that's a revenue generating asset.
Yeah, this kind of work seems. I think there's no better way to boil it down than it's the lifeblood in
Hmm.
so many ways. Really, hands down, in terms of ensuring Louisiana Tech, remains competitive in the athletic space. You bring up the capital projects, facilities, and there's student athlete resources, the sports specific initiatives, and again, anything that's going to generate revenue. And of course, another piece of that is roster construction. But am I right though? Like the lifeblood, you got to have money and you got to have gifts
Yeah.
coming in, and you and Wally are on the front lines of that.
It's tough being an alumni because if you can go out and get 5 more million to help with all of our coaches' needs, I would love to do that. And you try not to put that all on your shoulders. It is, but it's not on yours. So it's very tough for me. It's like I really wish I could just go and help our coaches and get this, but it's just not that easy. We work our tails off trying to get more resources and get more donations in the door, but there's only two of me and Wally, and then we have another staff of about 4 or 5 that also help us do a lot of that. But you're right, it's roster management, it's roster retention, and then it's facility projects. It's and then keeping the lights on. I mean,
Yeah.
heard our CFO say it all the time, like, hey, all these are great, but how are we going to keep the lights on in light of all this that's going on? And it's just there's never enough money,
Right.
which if I can do my job and keep bringing it in, then that's job security for me. But at the end of the day, I am here to help us with resources, and that's my job.
And there's varying levels or degrees in which folks can give back, right? There's with the institution, there is the LTAC, which you've mentioned, the IA Society, T Club, also Young Alumni, and buildthelegacy.com is where folks can go, I know, for more information. But with the Joe IA Society, you're trying to reach certain benchmarks, correct?
Right, the Ice Society, it's a giving society. I think it's been up for about 4 years. It was started by Eric Wood and Colton Prim before we got here, and it's anyone that's willing to pledge a gift of 25,000 over a 5-year period. So it's $5,000 a year, and it can go to wherever you'd like. If you want it to go to baseball, if you want it to go to football, if you just want it to go to LTAC or AD discretionary, it doesn't matter where it goes. It's those that really want to help with our future and commit to us over a 5-year period. And we're closing in on 100 members to that, which is great. But I am striving every day to grow that base because those are our cornerstone of our athletic department because those are the people that truly make a big difference in us. And that's not to discount anyone else that donates how much they can because we are appreciative of any and every gift. Because if someone can give $100 and that's all they can give, we're appreciative. But the I Society is where I focus, and Wally and I are continually talking to folks about getting into the I Society because there are benefits there that you get that no one else gets. You get to hear from our athletic director quarterly, and he gives a lot of stuff that you don't get just from hearing from the public.
Right. Or some of the many backpacks that are spread out here in the suite here at Joe
Yeah,
IA
we've
Stadium.
we've got a few backpacks
Yeah.
here. You've seen them for the past couple of weeks now, but they're full of gear for I Society members that I
Mhm.
need to go and hand deliver. So yeah,
You are the courier in many ways.
yeah, it's like a Christmas Santa Claus. You get to go and deliver gifts, and it's great. People put so much into our program and our athletic department, and the simple thing of a customized piece of gear for just saying thank you. And it's small, but it means a lot to some people.
And that's a big deal, though, closing in on 100 of Joe IA Society members. And it's only been around since Dr. Wood. It's only been a few years.
Yeah, it's 3.5 years,
Yeah,
almost 4.
yeah.
Yep, yep.
How much has name, image, and likeness is a loaded question, I'm sure. Can't wait to hear where you take this. But how much has NIL, that component, impacted your day to day?
It's really just about education and what NIL actually is. Our athletic director will joke and say, and even me too, it's, name, image, and likeness, NIL, it's just now it's legal.
Hmm.
It's, everything that we thought was illegal before is now, a lot of it is legal. And where we stand on it at Louisiana Tech, it's how can we provide more benefits for student athletes? Because now we're able to do that through the NIL laws. And it's not necessarily, hey, we're paying this player. Hey, there's other benefits that we were not able to give out before that we can now give based off scholarship limits and based off of new benefits that we can now fund to the full extent.
Hmm.
And that's how we're viewing it. Although, NIL in the traditional sense is still something that we try to encourage, but that a lot of times that falls on the student athlete on, hey, if I want to go and get a deal from X company, they are more than welcome to do any of that. But a lot of it's on them. I can make introductions and I can help seek out some of those if they're interested, but um, NIL is in the traditional sense as that, but also now you got rev share, Austin case payments, you got um, scholarship limits, all that kind of falls into this new era where
Sure.
people think NIL is paying players, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah, education, that makes sense, certainly. And my team, led by Brad Peets, general manager, Louisiana Tech Sports Properties, if any of those come up, anybody listening, you can fuel some of those or pass those requests, NIL related things in his direction. And with the help of athletics, it's a collaborative thing, to make sure these athletes, if they have earning power, beyond just what they're doing here as a student athlete and playing, they should be able to take advantage of that. So, yeah, the whole NIL thing in general, it's a very, I would say this is just my commentary. It's a very necessary thing when used the right way, right, for
Right.
student athletes.
Yeah, it's just so crazy now how, if we wanted to provide more scholarships for student athletes now, that is now available and it is now a tax write-off. So I love to use baseball as an example because, you know, for 20, 30 years, it was 11.7 scholarships is all they could give out. And now our roster limit's 34. Now we get scholarship all the way up to 34, which is great. Now more guys can get a scholarship. Before, you're getting 10%, 20%. You're
Hmm.
getting books. You're just getting this. But now we can, part of this case, house settlement is now we can fully fund everyone.
Yeah.
And it's just encouraging our donors that, hey, giving to the Champ Fund is not going straight into the pockets of student athletes. It is going to pay additional scholarships that we can now give out that we've never been able to give. And that has been my message is we're not trying to pay players like LSU and Ohio State millions of dollars. It's, hey, we can now help student athletes more than we ever could before, just to help them come here and get an education from Louisiana Tech.
I want to talk about those former athletes because you are, I don't know if gatekeeper is the right word. You're probably the one having to get through the gatekeeper in many cases for who might be protecting or who might be the handler of a certain person out there. But that's part of you and your job in maintaining these relationships, right? And the lines of communication with those that played here, whether it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20, 30, 40 years ago. You possess the master Rolodex, okay, for these athletes, the who's who of Tech former athletes, stars, and legends, and everyone in between. Is this all on your cell phone, or do you have a spreadsheet? Like, is it under lock and key? Is it in a vault? How do you keep track of everyone?
I do have a couple spreadsheets with certain individuals just to keep a list of who I need to be reaching out to and who we haven't reached out to, but most of their numbers are all on my phone. And I try my best to just keep tabs on them throughout the year. And some of them haven't been back in 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, but I like to tell them, hey, you're always welcome back here, no matter what time, no matter what time of the year. You just call and you let me know when you're coming. So it's I was talking to my dad the other day because my dad's an '87 grad, so I heard about Carl and Kim and like all these greats that played here. My dad watched them,
Hmm.
and I said, Dad, do you think it's just crazy that I am now kind of helping them stay connected to the university, and I'm just like a nobody from Pineville, Louisiana, that came here up here, went to school, got a career, and now like when Carl Malone needs something, he calls me. Like that is
Hmm.
wild to me.
Yeah.
But it I don't take that responsibility lightly, just because there's so many greats that have come here, and now having the ability to get them connected is it's pretty surreal.
And it was a banner day, literally, back in February when you helped
Hmm.
to orchestrate the return of Paul Millsap and his jersey retirement ceremony at halftime before the Dunkin' Dogs took on Sam Houston. You and I had talked a little bit, in the days or I guess weeks leading up to that and kind of the timeline of securing that because that was a difficult thing, right? Like considering his playing career, right? And
Hmm.
then life after basketball and trying to get him back here. But take me through like what can you share about the timeline and getting that date on the calendar, and of course the cooperation from Paul to be able to return
Sure.
for that day in February?
When I got here in the summer, a year and a half ago, they said, you know what, we really need to get Paul back here. We've had his banner made for 3 years, and we
Hmm.
just have never been able to get on his schedule and our schedule to make it work. So I took that as a challenge to say he needs to be recognized, and we need to retire his jersey because he deserves it. So it took me a good year to figure out, okay, how does his schedule work? Who do I need to reach out to? Who is planning his trips? And all that just it took a lot of time to navigate. But as soon as you start to get, okay, this is who I need to reach out to. These
Hmm.
are the dates that are available, and then finally we just picked one, and I went for it, and it was great having him back here. His whole family, he is from here in Grambling. His wife is his family is also from here, so it was a big family reunion for him. It was a
Hmm.
quick trip, but it was very rewarding for a year in the making of trying to get that on the calendar, and then to see him and his reaction on seeing the banner fall and just how proud he was of Louisiana Tech. And that's what I want every alumni that comes back here is, okay, maybe you're not getting your jersey retired, but the the pride that you have for Louisiana Tech, it always shows through.
Sure. No, that's beautiful, and I thought it was certainly a triumphant day, tremendous day for the university, for Louisiana Tech athletics, the community, and Dunkin' Dogs got a win too, which
Yeah,
certainly helped to punctuate
it
it.
was
And
great.
and Carl was here for that also.
Hmm.
You are, I don't want to insult you, but like in many ways you are a handler. When these people
Yeah.
come here, right? Like you're keeping tabs on it, but you got to make sure the red carpet is rolled out.
Hmm.
Certainly for Paul, it's his jersey retirement ceremony. But like, if Carl lets you know, like, does he reach out? Does Rusty reach out? Like, if he wants to come catch a game, what's that like? Knowing that Carl Malone's, it's
It
hard to plan for it.
Yeah, I mean, he just kind of shows up and he says, I want to sit. I'd like to sit here because there's more leg room and on the end. But I'm like, you know what? If you want to sit behind the bench, Carl, you do it. Like this is your court, this is your
Yeah.
university, and I'm just here to be a steward of you and
Hmm.
help you stay connected. And it's. Did you hear about the halftime speech with Paul Millsap?
Um, a little bit, but remind us
So
all.
Paul, after he got done with the jersey, we were going to go talk to some media, the local media,
Hmm.
and we were walking by the locker room, and I said, hey, that's where the locker room is, do you want to go pump them up as like a joke? He said, let's do it. So he walked in. Coach Hester did not know, and whatever he said to them, like, we weren't doing well that first half of the Sam
No.
Houston game, and they came back that second half after Paul said, I was like, Paul, what did you say to them? He's like, I just told them to play hard and play every game like it's your last, and they took it to heart.
Hmm.
I think Coach Hester also reached out to him before the championship game to send them a video
Yeah.
for the Conference USA tournament. But it's just good for now Coach Hester to be able to call Paul, say, hey, you know, we need some advice, especially now with his connections and the transfer portal and everything that Coach is having to deal with. I'm pretty sure he's called Paul once or twice and say, hey, you know, is there any guy in Atlanta that we need to look after, or
Sure.
who can you help us with? So it's a great thing for me to be able to connect our coaches with these athletes too.
Yeah, and fans can show their support and obviously, toot the horn of the Bulldogs and Lady Texters by shopping at Patton's Western Wear or Patton's Downtown, specifically styles brands for everyday life, the job, game days, any occasion, even the outdoorsman in you at Patton's Western Wear. But hundreds of uniquely designed specialty Bulldog and Lady Texters items for you to wear. You can find it all when you shop locally at Patton's, a North Louisiana tradition since 2007. I'm still waiting on Sadie Patton to give me the hookup on a couple of those Bulldog polos. There's some nice little palm tree and spotted ones. So I need to hook myself up, I guess, more than anything, and open up the checkbook. Quarter century team, Matt, recognition kind of falls under your scope too, right? With football, I appreciate it so much when I think it was when Southern Miss was in town at the end of September. You helped me secure even just a couple of minutes with Colby Cameron and Quentin Patton. They were awesome. And to have on a football Saturday, you only get so many of them. You're trying to blow it out every single one of those Saturdays. I thought that was a terrific day for the university.
That those reunions are so they take a lot of work, but they're so rewarding. To get all those people here from around the country to come celebrate them was so great because a lot of those guys played here when I went here. I watched Colby Cameron and Quentin Patton and even Matt Broham my freshman year, like Kenneth Dixon, you name it. Like these guys were legends when I was here, and to be able to get them back on campus, you just say, hey, we still remember you, we appreciate you, and we want you to come back and feel welcome because one's a Bulldog, always a Bulldog. And that day was great, getting the win over Southern Miss, celebrating with all those guys back on campus, and a lot of those guys have texted me and said, "Hey, we need to pick a date next year and do it again." So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I want is, hey, there is a lot of special things happening in Ruston, and please just come back once a year. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
your lives are busy, you got kids, you got family, you got a job, you don't live here. It's tough to get to, but just come back once a year and experience your the time that you had here and enjoy it with your friends. It's I've enjoyed having doing it every day, but
Yeah.
just come back and hang out. We'd love to have you.
Well, there's a lot of opportunities as the schedule certainly shows us right now at the moment with a 20-game schedule for Louisiana Tech football. So I'm sure we can find a
We'll
date.
find a date.
We can find a day. We're not playing 20 games, are we?
No,
What? Okay, all right.
no.
I'm not going to give you the Ryan Ivey question. I had him on with baseball on Sunday, and he's like, go ahead, give it to me. And I'm like, I'm going to ask you the question that you get tired of answering every single time. But look, progress is being made, folks. Trust me on that. The move to the Sun Belt, though, Matt, eventually, from a football standpoint and all of our other university-sanctioned sports, it'll provide a lot of benefits and untapped potential, I'm sure, for the athletic department's growth. And you've likely already seen that, right, since the announcement in July.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people jump back on board, and there's still room on the train. Like we need all we can get going into the Sun Belt because we would like to be the top quarter, if not the top couple schools in revenue. I know there's teams on the East that do a really good job, like Old Dominion and the JMU. They've got it rolling up there, and I think if we could be top of the West would be a great start for us in the first 3 years. Now, the first 3 years, we're going to have to figure out some financial uh, shortfalls because we don't get a full share of the conference
Mm-hmm.
until year three, and there's going to be some stuff with the transition and the buyout and whatever else Ryan is having to negotiate with the conference. But it's going to be great once we really get rolling because I do think we can be competitive in every single sport in the Sun Belt, and our fans will want to come to those games. Like the home schedule, I was talking with Brett Geis. Our home schedule last year to this year, it's night and day. Like
Mm-hmm.
October, just the month of October, we play midweek, 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 and now this year we've got open up Army at home, and then ULL at home, and then we go to a ULM, and then Old Dominion. I mean,
Yeah.
and they're all Saturdays,
Yeah.
which is great for our students and our fans, and something that our fans have been talking to us about for years is we hate midweek games. Like, it's kind of out of our hands.
Right.
But now with this move, we can have traditional Saturdays back. People can plan trips to come back to Russin on a Saturday as opposed to a Thursday or Tuesday or
Yeah.
whatever day we had. So I'm excited just
Yeah.
from our fan perspective.
And even if there is a one-off Thursday game, which I know the Sun Belt likes to roll out, that's ESPN, ESPN1, national television.
Right.
I mean, the promotion, the
Hmm.
publicity, everything that comes along with it, it's not buried
Yeah.
anywhere else.
And
It's
it'll
on
be
the
a regional game, like
yeah.
like if it's ULM or Arkansas
Hmm.
State or whoever, like it's something that our fans want to come see. It's not like Delaware on a Thursday. No offense
Yeah.
to Delaware, but
Right.
like people want to come see
Hmm.
a regional rivalry, and if they're going to come on a Thursday, we want to give them a good opponent.
Yeah. Are there anything you share about like new amenities or upgrades to the fan experience, since that's obviously something that you're dabbling in, those revenue generating
Yeah.
opportunities for football maybe that is in the works that you can share for the upcoming fall?
Yeah, we're looking at a few different things. I can't disclose everything right now, but we are looking at some things on the backside of the academic center. There's no chairs in there, but there's a space on the patio on the backside
Hmm.
that we could utilize for some fan engagement and some areas for groups to buy and enjoy, because that would be field level and it'd be close to the field. And there is a concession stand on the backside there of the academic center on the north end of the stadium. So I think that's where we're going right now, is looking into all that, and then how many people we can put down there and
Yeah.
what their experience is like. Because one thing we don't want to do is roll out something that is is not high level. Like
Right.
if we're going to do something and have a premium experience, we need to make sure it's premium, because we're going to charge a premium price, and we don't want anyone second guessing on, hey, is this worth our money that we're paying?
Yeah.
Because we want them to have a good time and realize that, hey, not only are you having a great experience, but you're helping the university at the same time. So there's a couple other things throughout every sport. To be honest, we're
Yeah.
always toying with, like, basketball and the tack. The tack is, it hasn't changed much other than the court and the video board. But what else can we do in the tack to make that a better experience? Love Shack is great, but there's still things in at baseball and softball even that we can increase the fan experience. So we're always toying with it.
Yeah, I think of like untapped potential. As good as baseball and softball is, like, what can you do to think creatively? To be
Hmm.
able to get more. And with the tack, I'm sure, you love it. It's a cathedral in its own right, but again, it's limited because of its age, right?
Right.
So, what all can you do to kind of reinvent some space and come up with things? So that's
Hmm.
something certainly you and your team and all of athletics are always kind of kicking around. I will mention this. I'm sure there's bigger brains at this department. Certainly, you are you know, a chief point illustrating that. But at Duke, okay, and I've worked closely with Duke for several years prior to coming to Ruston. They took Wallace Wade Stadium and reinvented all the seats in the north end in front of Cameron Indoor. They turned it into what was called a Devil's Deck, I think is what
Hmm.
they branded it as, and it was premium. It was, we'll say premium, but it was more of like drink food package, kind of like it's a deck and it's got like a DJ, and they're able to kind of reinvent that vibe and that environment to make it more of kind of like a party in that
Right.
environment instead of all these empty seats and chairbacks. And they kind of took out everything. So, there's ways. You just got to think outside the box and see what works. And I know you and everyone else here at Tech is doing that. Some of the changes on campus. You bring up the student center aesthetically. That continues to progress.
Hmm.
I talked with Ryan. It seems like things are still on track. But um, at the end of the football season, near the entrance to the DAC on the south end, this past football season, there was the unveiling of the Richardson Family Legacy Plaza, featuring the statues for Joe IA and then Maxie Lambright. What significance do those latest bronze figures hold for the
Hmm.
university?
Yeah, that was a couple of different parties that had been pushing for that for a little while now, and it honestly came to a head when Dr. Henderson said we need to do this. These two gentlemen deserve it, and we should. If there's a statue on the north end, we need to put statues for these two coaches too. So Coach I and Coach Lambright are iconic coaches, and now they have their own place, uh, own coaches plaza, uh, named by the Richardson family, which is so generous to help us get that project done. But it totally changes that, that south end of the stadium as you walk in, because you can
Hmm.
see that now from Alabama. And
Yeah.
as you're rolling down here, it's not that it looked bad before, but now it's like, here's two legendary coaches that coached here, and you can see them as you're driving just around Ruston. So it's a great addition to the stadium, and I think it really does help just even recruits come in like, who are these people? Well, you should
Yeah.
know,
Right.
and this is why they are up here, because they were legendary, and not just coaches but men. I've heard so many great stories about Coach Lambright and um, Coach I, that they were builders of men, and that's why they're so iconic. And they won games was just you know a result of them being who they are.
I hadn't thought about it as simply as that, what statues can do for people that don't know who are new to the area. It gets people's attention and it creates a story, right?
Hmm.
Like you're able to ask questions and it's a history lesson. And obviously a statue, nothing's gonna, be as demonstrative and kind of getting a point across of somebody's legacy and impact to a university than that those particular individuals and certainly the ones outside the north end zone as well. Wrapping up with Associate AD Championship Resources, Matt Thorne. A couple more questions for you, man. Thank you for your time. You are the only one on campus that I know of, okay, with an office in the tower, which is the press box where we are now. Like, this is where you inhabit, I don't know how much of your life because you're always kind of on the move and in different meetings
Hmm.
and you're going around and seeing folks, but having an office in the tower, which is the ancillary radio booth, okay, which I appreciate, back in my old days of being a budding broadcaster and needing an empty booth to go in and broadcast a game or for the students or what have you. You're up there just down the hall from where we're doing this podcast. To me, much like your mafia-like persona, as you sit next to me here with your slicked back hair, it's like a whole nother level of power and mystery being up in the tower all by your lonesome. You're not hiding anything from us, are you?
No,
Okay.
not.
You're an open book.
So I had a office in the foundation, which is across
Okay.
the street in the Alumni Center, and they were looking for some office space for someone that had just got hired, and I had always kicked around the idea of just going to the suites and working out of just any room up there, because I just need a place for a laptop
Hmm.
and a monitor. And I got the idea from a friend of mine, and I'm gonna shout him out on here. Cam Link, baseball pitcher, was actually went to a regional with baseball as a pitcher. The next year, flipped and says, "I want to be a long snapper," and was a long snapper on football.
What?
Won a bowl game.
Okay.
So he was working at NC State. At NC State development staff, they worked from their press box and their suites.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Hey, what do you guys?" They just have a rollaway desk, and they just sit there, and that's where their offices are. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to do it here, and I'm not in the office a lot. I'm either in meetings or visiting with donors. I just need a place to go and have a laptop and a screen. So I've been up there for about a year, and
Hmm.
it's very quiet up here. It's honestly, I hate it because my office, Ryan has got an office down in the TAC with no windows, and I'm
Hmm.
up here in a suite over the 10, 15-yard line. But
Yeah.
I told him to come up here and just work from his suite up here.
Yeah. Why
It's a
not?
great view, but you know, maybe one day.
No, it's awesome. I can't fault you, and you're right. I knew that about NC State, even Duke, their play-by-play director of broadcasting, big mentor of mine, David Shoemate. He works out in the press box at Wally Wade, so that's not taboo for the broadcasters to even do that. And I think our friends at UL Lafayette, Jay Walker, he works in the baseball press box,
Hmm.
and I double up and kind of spend 2 hours after each baseball game just chilling in there and decompressing because it's beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
what more do you want? So it's great scenery. Husband, father, you got two small children, 1 and 2, your beautiful wife. How do you balance it all?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
It's We were talking the other day about just, you know, we got in this profession, 10 years ago, and having a wife that is so supportive and like, hey, I'm going to be gone this weekend, and she's got a 1 year old and at the time and during the fall when we were going on away trips, you've got a 1 year old and an 8 month old. You're like, oh, I'm going to leave you at home for the weekend, and
Hmm.
being able to allow me to do that. And she would hate if I said allowing me. It's like I have to ask her. She wants me to go and to be able to do my job and make an impact for Louisiana Tech. But the greatest thing about moving back to Ruston is she's born and raised here, and her mom is from here, so her mom helps out a ton. And then my parents are still in Pineville, about an hour and a half away, so
Hmm.
they frequent trips to Ruston when I have to go out of town. So um, you balance it with family and priorities. And as you know, with kids, it's you know You want to spend as much time as you can with them,
Hmm.
and when you can't, you know that there's other people taking care of them that you feel comfortable with, and they're going to love them for it. So um, it's definitely not easy, but you know, you learn to balance it, and you know, we're all doing it for we think the right reasons, is impacting others, and I'm just glad to have a spouse and a family that supports me in what I do.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Final thing with you, Matt. What's something that folks would be surprised to learn about you that they wouldn't know just by judging a book by its cover, which we all do, or those
Oh
that might
boy.
have some understanding of you, whether it's pop culture related, food, music, snacks, hobbies, anything?
Hmm. I'm a big foodie.
Okay.
I when I travel and go on trips, I plan my trips around food,
Okay.
and they're, you know, I don't know if you look at Eater and Effectuation and all these different food blogs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I look at those and
Okay.
I'm like, hey, where should I go that is hot and new and like a staple? I don't like going to chains at all unless it's got to be quick. But
Right.
like when I go on trips and go see alumni in Houston, Dallas, I want to treat them, and I take them to good to good restaurants. So I'm a big foodie. And then as far as music, I'm a big crooners guy.
Crooners?
So yeah, I'm
Okay.
a big Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin.
This
I love,
completely fits the mold of again what I've
yeah,
built you up to.
hmm,
Your whole
yeah,
ambiance.
yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Okay.
It's beyond that, it's I don't have much to hide.
All right.
I try to I try to be pretty open, and in development and fundraising, that's one thing that people will to pick you apart for is not being unique, and they can tell when you're not being um, what's the word I'm looking for? Just
Not authentic.
yes,
Yeah.
and they can tell, especially when you're coming from a place to asking them for money. Like you, I
Yeah.
don't want to be a used car salesman. I don't
Right.
want to be someone that's not understanding because I'm just a person too,
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to connect people to our student athletes in our university.
Well, I think that's the key is leaning into who you are, remaining authentic, remaining genuine. Certainly in your line of work, you've got to be
Hmm.
that way. And I'm sure there are a lot of challenges and learning lessons early on and how to best do that. But I think you got the right personality, a man of tremendous aura, as we have outlined here throughout the last 30 minutes or so. Matt, thank you so much for taking the time on Tech Drive.
You got it. Thank you for having me.
That's Matt Thorne, Associate AD for Championship Resources. I'm the voice of the Bulldogs, Kyle Schasberger. Appreciate Jack so much on the ones and twos. We'll talk to you next week on Tech Drive.